close to a month after he was declared missing, the police has discovered the dead remains of TORDUE Salem, the missing Vanguard newspaper journalist in the nation's capital, Abuja. In a traumatic narration, the police narrated how a hit-and-run driver killed the late TORDUE on the night of 13th October 2021. The police also presented an arrested driver who confessed to have knocked down the journalist on the said night. The driver, Itoro Clement, also narrated what happened. But in a swift reaction, the Nigerian Union of Journalists has rejected the police claim. NUJ says the story did not add up. According to the Journalists Union, both the narration of the police spokesperson, Frank Mba, and evidence presented by the alleged driver left too many loopholes. NUJ is now asking for a thorough investigation into the death of TORDUE Salem. And the question now is, who killed TORDUE Salem and why was he killed? Well, joining me in the studio is Emmanuel Ogbeche, Chairman, Nigeria Union of Journalists, FCT Council, and Ochiaka Ugu, Secretary of the Nigeria Union of Journalists, FCT Council, and of course I still have with me here Ahmed Sajo, who is a former commissioner in Adamawa State. But I just want us to take a listen to what Frank Mba, a commissioner of police and spokesperson of the police, said during the parading of that suspect.
When following some digital leads, some forensic leads, his old phone or his phone, an iPhone 6, that have already been smashed into pieces, was trailed and found in a garage somewhere in Mpape called Good Friends Garage. It was discovered that a test call was made from his SIM card.
On my way coming, I was on 100 speed. I was coming. After the Mabuchi Bridge, going to Same Market, where those forest is, someone was crossing. The first person crossed. The second one ran into me. The person ran into me, knocked out the person. I moved on. So I turned around to that where they have checking points to come report that I knocked someone down. Getting there, I just stand there and talk to the police. Then I left to go and park my vehicle because my vehicle was damaged.
Well, gripping accounts of what is alleged to have happened on the late TORDUE Salem, which has provoked lots of protests, lots of anger, and debate across the country on the safety of journalists and how the nation can help protect further journalists in the discharge of their duties. And let me come to you, Emmanuel Ogbeche. It's such a sad moment over the killing of TORDUE Salem. There's now a call for a forensic investigation into this matter. Tell us why the NUJ is insisting that there are loopholes in both the account of the police and the suspect presented.
Well, thank you for this opportunity once again. If you remember events leading to yesterday being the 12th, when the police or paraded one Itoro Clement as being responsible, for the death of our dear colleague, TORDUE Salem. You will recall that on exactly a week after he was allegedly declared missing, we staged a march to the police headquarters to demand that constructive and measured investigation be conducted. And we also requested, as at that time, that the FCT command was not equipped to undertake such investigation. It should be transferred to the Office of the Inspector General of Police. This is not undermining the efforts of the FCT Police Command. What we wanted was that for a matter of such magnitude, the Inspector General of Police should oversee the operations through the Office of the Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of investigation and operations. And at that time, we were met by the first public relations officer, Mr. Frank Umba, who gave us an update of what the police were doing. And one of what he told us as at that time was that 6 individuals have been interrogated and that the police were on the trail of whoever was holding TORDUE Salem. You know, he gave us a rundown of how they have tracked TORDUE Salem's phone records from when he took Uber from Life Camp to National Assembly to Area 8 and eventually when he disappeared. So it is rather regrettable that the same police that gave us the impression that they were already on track as to where his phone was and what they were doing, and they had interrogated the last calls he made to 6 individuals, and to now, after a month, bring up this individual to claim that he hit TORDUE Salem. And you know why we are worried? If you listen to the account of the driver, he said he drove to a checkpoint and said
and reported to the police that he actually hit
ordinarily
someone.
The police will not let you go.
Yes.
So it is surprising that after making such a weighty confession, I just hit somebody from where I'm coming from, and the person is lying in his pool of blood, and the police will allow him drive
to
off.
go. Well, let me just bring in Ochaka Ugu here. And Ochaka, one of the things that have made us to actually question these surrounding issues as presented by the police is for the fact that as at the last time the police spoke with you during that protest by the NUJ to the force headquarters, they told you that the last place he was tracked was at Area 8 within the Garki district of Abuja. And now when the police was now parading this suspect, they now said that he was actually hit by this driver somewhere along Wuse Market and Mabushi district, within Wuse and Mabushi districts of Abuja. Are you questioning why there had to be that difference between the last statement made by the police, that the last place they got in touch with him was at Area 8, and then now a fresh account is coming that he was actually hit by this driver in Wuse?
Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity, sir. I will start by saying that the briefing by the police has raised more questions than answers. It is unfortunate that we are wobbling with this issue, because this man was a thoroughbred journalist, a fine gentleman. The police told us that day that the Area 8 was his last point of contact, and they even promised us that they are going to engage us on confidential briefing, which never came. But I was surprised when one Mr. Toro came and claimed that TORDUE was he hit TORDUE was his car ran into his car at Mabuchi. And I want to ask, we know how the police operate in this part of the world. Somebody went to you, to a police checkpoint, and confessed to have hit somebody down, and police just allow him to go like that. And another person now took that person to mortuary, and not even that person's contact was even collected from the mortuary. I've had cause to have taken bodies to mortuary, maybe my town union people. And if you go there, the first off, they will collect your number, collect everything about you. Sometimes they even ask you for your ID card, and you have to deposit maybe a certain amount of money for them to start what they're doing. So what I want to say is that, and that is everything is just, I can say, it's not adding up. And that is why NUJ, in their own wisdom, now asked that there should be an independent probe and an autopsy conducted to ascertain the cause of death and the time TORDUE Salem died.
Right, and I'll come to you, Sergio. You've heard these accounts and the role of the police. The suspect has confessed to this, but there are still so many loopholes. A lot of journalists are dissatisfied. A lot of Nigerians say that something has gone wrong on the safety of this journalist who has eventually been found dead.
Thank you very much. I think I feel the pain. I applied the journalism trade on the streets of Abuja here, and I had no vehicle, so I could understand why, walking from one end to the other in trying to discharge your responsibilities. And incidentally, this is what most of our colleagues suffer. The job is essentially a thankless job. We do one of the most essential jobs in the world. Informing others is a very, very crucial job. There are sometimes I rate it higher than even medicine and other professions, because if anybody has any information, it's a preventive thing. And so, we do this, but we suffer, countless risks and hazards. But in this case, I believe that the story from the police, to a large extent, is not even it.
Yeah, because the police is telling us right now, as Nigerians, that they found his ID card on him, his bank
from my experience,
and all of that.
Let me give you my experience.
Okay, go ahead.
From my experience as a public official, I do understand that when there is an accident victim, whether he is late or he is in difficulty, even if you carry that accident victim to the hospital, the first thing they will ask you is that they may stabilize him to save life, but they would demand for the presence of police to take further action. If it is a corpse, nobody will accept a corpse from you for an accident victim without the involvement of the police. And one of the reasons why the police is involved is so that the police can follow up on what must have happened that led to this. And nobody in his right senses will say it will take the police 1 month to follow up.
Yeah, and those are the things that we're all trying to find
our
out.
colleague was said to have been with his ID card, which was very easy. And nobody would have even declared him missing, because anybody who has a means of identification is not a missing person. It's somebody you can trace. He has a phone. That phone has a SIM that is registered, and the registration of that SIM gives some modicum of details of the individual. So identifying him and tracing him or tracing whoever is related to him is not going to be a very difficult task. And I am finding the supposed suspect, the casual manner with which he said he walked up to a policeman at a checkpoint and said, "I have knocked somebody, and then I went to park my car." It really speaks volumes of even our lack of humanity as a people.
Very interesting submission you've got there. We'll interrogate that further when we come back from this short break, which we'll just have to go on. Stay with us. welcome back from that break. And we're still discussing the brutal killing of TORDUE Salem, a journalist with the Vanguard newspapers here in the Nigerian capital, Abuja, who has now been confirmed seen, but this time around dead and with his body deposited in the morgue, and there are lots of issues that are coming up. And I have with me here the chairman of the Nigeria Union of Journalists, FCT Council, Emmanuel Ogbeche, and Ochiaka Ugo, who is the secretary of the Nigeria Union of Journalists, FCT Council, and of course, Amas Sajo, who is a former commissioner for information at Adamawa State. And I come back to you, Emmanuel Ogbeche. The process of depositing a body in the morgue is well known to a lot of Nigerians. And you raised, Ochiaka raised that issue, while you raised the fact that this same suspect presented by the police reported the incident that allegedly happened to the police, and he was let go freely without being detained or details being taken from him until after a month. And we're wondering, does the NUJ know who took the dead body to the morgue at this point in time?
Well, as we speak, a lot of issues are shrouded in secrecy. We have been unable to know exactly who deposited his corpse, TORDUE's corpse, at the morgue. From police sources, they claim that it was the Abuja Environmental Protection Board that came to evacuate the corpse. But even if that were to be the case, he had some sort of clothing on, and no corpse is put into the refrigerator with the clothes on. Usually you ransack the pocket if he has a bag for means of identity, but none of this was done until
for
after
a whole month.
You understand? So it raises the suspicion that TORDUE Salem was not actually the individual that was hit by the suspect, Itoro Clement.
And there was this video that we saw actually.
Yes,
someone who was trying to help with this investigation put it out on social media and tagged you and actually stating, and we saw that gory picture actually. A lot of people have said it's not the body of TORDUE Salem. Some have said that even if it's the body of TORDUE Salem, the cut on his head looks like a machete cut, and his leg, one of his legs was literally hanging on the body, and of course, all of that. In all of this that we have seen, is the NUJ suspecting an assassination plot against the late TORDUE?
Yeah, we're not ruling anything out, and it is for this reason we have requested an independent inquiry, and it is for this reason we are demanding an autopsy be conducted to determine the cause of death and the time of death. You understand? All of this will help to resolve the riddle behind TORDUE's death. We do not wish to speculate as to what exactly happened and if at all he was murdered. There is a scientific way to determine all of this, and that is the least we are asking of the government to do. For too long, journalists have been killed in this country without effort being made to find those behind these killings. Okay. Remember Godwin Agboroko died in Maiduguri, and up till this day as we speak, nothing has been done to unravel that mystery. Bayo Ohu was killed. Nothing was done. For how long are we going to run in circles, right from when Delegiwa was killed in this country, and answers are yet to be provided for by the government?
And I come to you, Ochiaka Ugo. You are the secretary of the council where TORDUE belonged. What sort of journalist was he, and what's the mood like among members of the Nigerian Union of Journalists in the nation's capital? What events are you thinking of doing since now that you've been told that the body has been recovered?
I would like to say that TORDUE Harry Salem was a thoroughbred journalist, a fine gentleman, who is a friend to everybody. But it is unfortunate that this fate befell him. And I will tell you that he's also a good family man. But it's unfortunate that the media space is now shrinking. the media has been, the freedom of media has been repressive over time. I will tell you that from 2015 to now, 7 journalists have been killed without any of this murder being resolved. TORDUE is now making it the 8th journalist to be killed since 2015. And about 500 violations involving like 300 journalists and many more. Some mediums have also been maybe shut down for maybe somebody coming to say something that maybe to air his view. So to me, I will tell you honestly that most journalists are now living in anxiety, fearing that what befell TORDUE Salem may befall them. And that is why NUJ, in their own wisdom, now asked for this autopsy so that we will now know what really happened to TORDUE. And also, we are also appealing to government and also political office holders to make sure that they prioritize the safety of journalists. Because in every democracy, freedom of speech is the first feature in any democracy.
Right. And I come to you, Sergio. Do you think that the intent of the killers of these journalists was actually to drive fear? Because here he is, a journalist covering politics and covering the National Assembly for so many years. He's written lots of articles, highly opinionated. And in this instance, you have also been in government. If, for example, there's a call for an autopsy, a forensic investigation, what's the process like? Although we are in the nation's capital, not in a state.
No, but it's all the same. Government is government. I think there is no question about the fact that there's a need, a begging need for a thorough investigation, which should include proper identification of the body. You know, not we shouldn't be arguing as to whether the body is his or is not his, and then the real cause of death must be ascertained. If somebody said I knocked him down, and then another person says no, we feel that the body we are seeing does not look like one that was knocked down by a vehicle, and even if it was knocked down by a vehicle, the person who knocked him down should not have been so heartless as not to even stop to assist a bleeding person, but rather to go and well, his defense, according to the suspect, is that that place is prone to criminality. So he was trying to save his own life after having hit this person. But by the time he went to the police, let's tell ourselves the truth. By the time he went to the police would have, with their protective capacity, returned back to the scene with him. This is what we're saying, and we wouldn't have reached this point. And in any case, assuming that has happened, we still want a scientific means of ascertaining that is what really happened. If a proper autopsy is carried out and there is a way the medical professionals would have ascertained that he died as a result of wounds sustained during the hit and run situation, we would still have been very sad.
Okay, very quickly, because I've been told that we don't have enough time. I just want to ask, do you think that our institutions are failing us? In this time around, we have the police being mentioned there, the hospitals, and of course, even
the Abuja in environmental.
Environmental. Do you think all these institutions have failed us as Nigerians?
All of these institutions have not acted professionally in this case. All of these institutions.
Okay. Thanks so much. I'm Sergio, who is a former commissioner for information in Adamawa State, joining us to take a critical analysis of some of the top issues that happened during the week. And of course, Emma Ogbeche of the Nigerian Union of Journalists and Ochiaka Ogu, we must thank you for joining us on This Week. Well, that's how it's been for this edition of This Week. From me and the entire team here in Abuja, goodbye and thank you for watching. I'm Somna Sambu.